Hello and welcome. I'm KJ and this is Swali.
Welcome back again.
And you're listening to UnMaddening, where we unpack the madness of society one word at a time.
The one word.
The word of the day is biological. Swals?
Ooh, that's a sensitive topic there.
Yeah, it's been sitting in the list for a long time and today's the day. Let's tackle it, hey?
It's a bit of a taboo word nowadays,
Apparently.
isn't it?
The definition, it actually says the term when you search it up on the interweb. The term biological broadly refers to anything related to life, living organisms, and their vital processes. The root word biology combines the Greek terms bios, meaning life, and logos, study. So it's the study of life.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the context, the meaning falls into four primary categories. 1, life processes and mechanisms, describing the natural functions, behaviours and states that occur within the bodies of living things, for example, digestion, cell division, or the biological clock that regulates sleep and wake cycles. 2, genetic lineage, so blood relations. In family and medical contexts, it distinguishes between blood relatives and those connected by adoption or marriage. For example, a biological parent is one's natural blood-related mother or father rather than a foster or adoptive parent, all right?
Yep.
3, derived from living organisms. In medicine and industry, it refers to products or substances created by or extracted from living things. For example, there's a National Cancer Institute definition, which classifies biologicals or biologics as medical therapies, such as vaccines and antibodies, made from living organisms to prevent or treat diseases. And please always trust the experts. For example, household washing powders described as biological contain active enzymes derived from living microorganisms, which break down proteins and fats in stains. Amazing, love that. And 4, biological in point 4 is in the field of applied science and threats, because they're interchangeable.
Oh, threats.
It refers to areas where biological principles are utilised, whether in the study of ecosystems or in harmful applications. For example, biological control involves using one living organism to regulate the population of another, e.g. introducing ladybugs to eat aphids, or in the land down under, cane toads to eat cane beetles. It went really well.
And then rabbits and...
We definitely trusted the experts there.
We're very good at this.
And then for your biological warfare, refers to the military use of toxins or infectious bacteria to cause harm to humans, crops, or livestock.
Yeah.
I just need to gather my thoughts for a second. Okay, synonyms for biological depend on the context in which you are using the word. The most common alternatives include organic, biotic, or living, used to describe things relating to life, living organisms, or natural processes. Natural, used to describe genetic relationships by blood rather than by adoption or marriage. And then physiological or anatomical, used in medical or scientific contexts to describe bodily or physical functions. What about the antonyms, Swals? What is
Well, I think
not
they all sound
biological?
very definitive, those.
Yeah, they were the synonyms. So the antonyms, depending on the context, the antonym for biological can mean unrelated by blood or non-living. Most common antonyms categorized by meaning. For relationships, adoptive, foster or surrogate. For matter of origin, non-biological, inorganic or abiotic. For life processes, lifeless, non-living or inanimate. Biological on the Urban Dictionary. We have
There we go.
Oh, it's good. It's the biological footprint, the amount of offspring you bring into this world.
Oh.
It's better than the carbon footprint. Biological clock. Term more popular with the older generation, refers to several things. A woman's sudden need to have a child, puberty, etc. are all supposedly controlled by a biological clock. I don't think it's supposedly, by the way. As well as waking up and sleeping habits, hence losing time after a long airline trip.
Just from that comment, I'm definitely in the older generation.
All right, cool. So how much time did we just waste on the definition there? Who knows? With all that context, I guess we should just tackle the elephant in the room and rip the Band-Aid off of...
Where we go from the definitive definition and make our own assumptions. And
look, these are not our definitions that I'm going to read out. As per usual, I just asked the interweb, what does the interweb say a biological male is? Okay, a biological male refers to an individual assigned male at birth. Straight up in there, immediately assigned, typically based on inherited physical and genetic characteristics. Scientific and medical definitions generally identify biological maleness using these core criteria. Genetics, point 1, the presence of XY sex chromosomes rather than XX. Reproductive biology, having a reproductive system organised to produce small mobile gametes known as sperm. And anatomy, the presence of male primary sex characteristics such as testes and a penis. Yes, logic.
This all makes sense.
It does so far, apart from that bit right at the start where it says assigned. Anyway, for a biological female, the internet says that biologically a woman is defined by sex chromosomes, gonads and hormones that result in a female phenotype. While most females have XX chromosomes and a female reproductive anatomy, human biology is complex. Biological sex encompasses several contributing factors. Talks about the chromosomes, again having the two XXs while males have X and Y. Gametes, in broad biological terms, the female sex is characterised by the production of the larger gamete, the ovum or egg, which is involved in sexual reproduction. It also talks about biological females typically develop ovaries, internal structures like the uterus and fallopian tubes, and external genitalia. Hormones. The female body is primarily influenced by estrogen and progesterone, which govern reproductive functions and the development of secondary sex characteristics such as breasts and a wider pelvis, which, if you dig up a dead body out of the ground, or you can tell which is a male and which is a female based on the shape of the pelvis. It's quite interesting.
Lots of other factors as well. But yes.
And then it says, because developmental variations can cause these traits to occur in different combinations, biological sex is widely understood as a spectrum rather than a strict binary. Thank you, Internet. Thanks. Love that.
That's not entirely terrible as a definition.
No, it was in there, but there's just a few little words to not hurt anyone's feelings.
Yeah, that's right.
And you know what? If you're on that vibe and you're a bit worried about it, I'm sad for you. And I would love to give you a hug and tell you that you're awesome and you don't need to worry about changing those things.
Back to the biology and of it being a threat, like saying that someone's sex, let's do the finger quotes here, at birth is like a biological weapon.
Yeah. Warfare.
Yes. But
I did also ask, why is biological sex such a scary topic?
There we go.
And it says, biological sex has become a highly charged and sensitive topic because it sits at the fiery intersection of identity, science, and the law, right? The fear and tension often arise because the conversation challenges deeply held personal realities. Public safety concerns and the fundamental ways we organise society. Long-standing ways in which we organise society, such as that's, where the blokes go and that's what the chicks do, and those are the different regions in which you'll do your private things. The volatility surrounding the topic stems from a few core areas. Science versus simplicity. While we are taught in school that biological sex is a strict, unchanging binary, XX chromosomes for females, XY for males, modern biology reveals a more complex reality. Biological sex is actually a collection of traits, including chromosomes, hormones, gonads, and internal and external genitalia. In some individuals, these traits do not perfectly align, creating intersex variations. Completely agree, that is factual.
Agree.
That is factual, but that's not where it's being manipulated
And
to.
that's not where this explanation is going to stop, though,
No.
is it? No.
It says, acknowledging this nuance can feel threatening to people who rely on simple, traditional definitions of sex to understand the world. acknowledging that nuance is not a problem for you or I, Swells.
No.
Like, that completely does exist. The problem doesn't lie in that. Anyway.
And it's not the norm, it's an abnormality.
Yeah,
such.
yeah.
So it's not a consistent, it's a can, may.
And it is a nuance that is confusing and can be confronting, particularly for the parents of those children. Goodness gracious. Don't envy being in that situation. But furthermore, under this topic of why biological sex is such a scary topic, it says because of the overlap with gender identity. Much of the fear is tied up in the modern distinction between biological sex, physical traits, and gender identity, an internal sense of self. For transgender and non-binary individuals, asserting their identity can be a matter of well-being and authenticity. For others, separating gender from biological sex feels like a denial of objective, observable reality. So it's really butting at heads there.
Isn't it crazy though? I mean, you look at this and the world is difficult as it is to navigate through everything that happens every day in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Why would we add a whole new spectrum to make it more difficult? It just does not make any sense. And even the fact that, we're doing that, we're making it complicated just so we don't hurt feelings or just so we can acknowledge something else. It doesn't have anything to do with it at all.
I disagree that it's not to hurt feelings. I actually think it is to hurt feelings. I think you are hurting somebody if you don't just tell them that, I know you're having a hard time right now, but that's okay, and who you are is awesome, and yes, this is awkward, like particularly when we're dealing with prepubescent people. Nobody's had the most awesome time at that time in their lives.
So what would you call it? You'd probably call it the PR route, the soft approach, the snowflake approach?
No, I don't even know that it's snowflakey. I think it's actually aggressive, and I think it's unkind. I don't think that that's a nice thing to do. And I don't think if you looked at me as a tomboy girl and said, oh, you're actually supposed to be a bloke, that would have done me any favours. Why couldn't you just support the person with however they want to be? Anyway,
it's probably a topic for another time. You look at so many of these kids that that have gone through transitions and things like that, and
I'm not one of them, so I can't speak from the perspective of that.
But how much more mental health illness is after the fact?
It does upset me. From the outside looking in, you think, goodness gracious, just tell them they're awesome, and why are they even thinking about that?
But back to the facts at hand.
Yes. So furthermore,
if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then it must be a chicken. That's where we're at, right?
Kinda. It does talk about the overlap with gender identity as being a reason as biological sex is a scary topic. And it says, the interweb told me, much of the fear is tied up in the modern distinction between biological sex, which we just went over. Right underneath that part is the protection of sex-segregated spaces as being the next important point, right? It says a significant source of the societal tension revolves around the safety and privacy of spaces historically separated by biological sex, such as bathrooms, prisons, locker rooms, and sports divisions. Many cisgender, terrible word, women and advocates are fearful that altering access to these spaces based on gender identity rather than biological sex compromises their safety and fairness.
But if you go back to the root of it, that the actual definition of the biology of sexes
XX
is
and
based
XY
is based on reproduction.
Yep.
So to keep that private, you would separate that, not have that in the one sort of space.
Yeah, and that's where the identity bit kind of muddies the waters. And I guess you just need a third space for people that were quote unquote assigned something and don't believe that anymore. And then I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm going to go back to, we did a word a long time ago, that faulty syllogism. Just because you say it is doesn't make it not that.
Yeah.
And that's why. Let's play that clip back again.
That's what we call a faulty syllogism. Just because you call Bill a dog doesn't mean that he is.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Absolutely.
So it's fair enough to say that you can't cross those. It's private space for people with. Don't call it a woman. Don't call it a man. It's a private space with people with that reproductive organ and the other reproductive organ.
Yeah.
So,
And the other aspect at the very end of that part there is the fairness to do with like sports divisions. And we could go on about that forever.
yes, we could.
Blokes busting around in chick sports. No, mate. You don't belong there.
Well, I mean, you can't dope, but you can just go through 20 years of your life doping and then decide that you identify as a non-doping person and then be all right with it. You know, like,
that's literally how
doesn't
it
make
plays
any
out, isn't
sense.
it?
No.
And you know what? Some of them still suck, even against the girls. So bully to you. For medical care and autonomy, this is another point of contention for why is it such a hot topic. The topic has become intensely political, impacting access to gender-affirming care and how medical professionals treat conditions based on a patient's biological history. Legislative debates, such as those surrounding the definitions used by health agencies, make the topic intensely personal because they directly dictate how individuals are legally recognised by the state.
Yeah. But I mean, even going back again, like with the original thing that you put down with the definitions and that. With
I
all
didn't
the
put down the
biology,
definitions. I'm just reading them.
You're just reading them, but
Just reading them.
biology, even parenthood of a biological parent and an adoptive parent.
Mm-hmm.
You go back to medical thing. It's important to keep these terms alive and not to try and muddy the waters with them because, I mean, you need to know what the biological parent or what the biological...
what is the lineage of this individual?
What the lineage is of it, so you can
now they're
deal
ill,
with the
how do
health
we...
Yes, 100%. And just because you might identify as... And I'm not saying... Because there's a lot of adopted children that have parents that are actual parents. Parenting is about taking responsibility for your children and looking after your children.
It's using love as a noun and a verb and not just a four-letter word, isn't it? It's an action.
That's right. But as far as when you go back to a medical standpoint, you can't donate blood to or donate stem cells or whatever it is that you're trying to donate to if it doesn't match.
It does become
DNA,
very messy.
It makes very messy.
It's
so
very
you really
messy.
need to not muddy the waters
Interactions
with
are
it.
messy.
Keep it simple and not so complicated. It's just I can see a lot of risks.
Yeah.
Even just in the science point of view.
But closing off that bit that we had to hit because that was the word, the internet finished by saying because the conversation touches on bodily autonomy, legal rights and personal identity simultaneously, discussing it often triggers fear of invalidation, which I'm not advocating for, erasure, or physical vulnerability. None of those things are good.
No.
Nobody should feel that they are invalidated. Nobody should feel physically vulnerable or that they are at risk of erasure. I just think there's a lot more work to be done around that. But that's all we need to be saying about.
Stop messing with the words and it just be what it is.
Yeah.
It worked.
It's such a broken world. Much love to all of you. If you're having a hard time with that, you're perfect in the body that God puts you in. What about biological warfare, Swirls? Let's pivot. Biological.
Just from something nasty to something even more nasty.
Yeah, well, we've been talking for a while. I'll bust this one out for you.
Go on then, go.
Biological warfare or germ warfare is the intentional use of infectious agents like bacteria and viruses or toxins produced by living organisms to kill or incapacitate humans, animals or plants. Classified as weapons of mass destruction, these agents pose severe threats due to their potential for mass casualties, rapid spread and agricultural devastation. Key categories: bacteria, single-celled organisms that cause diseases such as anthrax, plague. Viruses, submicroscopic infectious agents that replicate inside living hosts such as smallpox and various equine diseases or viruses. Toxins, poisonous substances extracted from living organisms such as botulinum toxin from bacteria or ricin from castor beans, fungi, pathogens that can be used to target and destroy vital food crops, leading to mass starvation. Is anybody going to talk about the, what did we call it? Chemtrails. Methods of delivery. Biological weapons require both a lethal agent and an efficient dissemination system. Aerosols, the most common method of attack where agents are sprayed as a fine mist or powder to be inhaled by the target population. Contamination, poisoning water supplies or food sources with biological agents. Vectors, using infected insects such as fleas or mosquitoes to transmit diseases historically known as entomological warfare. International law and prevention. Due to their indiscriminate nature and catastrophic potential, biological weapons are strictly banned under international law.
Yeah, they did do a, the little signature thing where everyone agrees to it, but they can keep their programs running where they're, just in case something happens, we know how to deal with it. Not that we're making these biological weapons, we're just researching them and how to deal with them on the other side.
Just making sure nobody else does it against us.
It's only allowed for defensive reasons, the research.
Biological Weapons Convention, first enacted in 1972, this treaty prohibits the development, production, stockpiling and acquisition of biological and toxin weapons. And then the Geneva Protocol from 1925 prohibits the use of biological methods of warfare in international conflicts. International conflicts? Maybe not on your own soil, though.
Yeah.
So you can test it on your own people.
Civil, it's okay.
But you can't use it internationally.
Wouldn't that be horrible?
Oh, my goodness. Modern threats, says the interweb. While historical state-sponsored programs have largely been dismantled, the global community faces evolving risks. The rise of synthetic biology and advancements in AI-driven gene synthesis have raised concerns that malicious actors could recreate dangerous extinct viruses or engineer novel drug-resistant pathogens.
Did you just ask AI whether it was a threat and it told you, yes, I can develop my own biological
I just
weapons?
asked about biological warfare and it just tells me what it tells me.
Oh, wow.
It even gave me examples, recent examples of biological warfare, rarely traditional battlefield deployments. Instead, modern threats manifest as agroterrorism, illicit pathogen smuggling, and information warfare using synthetic biology or disinformation.
Oh.
Yes. Information warfare. It pivoted me away from the biological concern and just said, what about information warfare?
Yeah, misinformation.
Trust the experts. Recent notable incidents in modern biowarfare vectors include agroterrorism and smuggling. And then it gives an example of US federal authorities intercepted foreign nationals attempting to smuggle toxic fungi and pathogens considered destructive to crops and livestock. Blah, blah, blah. Illegal, unregulated biolab incidents. Unlawful and loosely regulated testing facilities handling live, highly infectious diseases such as tuberculosis and HIV have been discovered operating covertly. Security agencies view these as vulnerabilities that hostile foreign actors could exploit or which could cause accidental outbreaks mirroring warfare. Have you heard any of that on your local news? Does anyone tell you that that they've found these labs that are just hanging out with TB and HIV and definitely not using them for international warfare?
China.
AI and dual use research, Trumpy. Investigations have demonstrated that AI chatbots and large language models can be manipulated to provide instructions for synthesizing or deploying dangerous pathogens, raising alarms about bioterrorism. And then it talks about the information warfare and disinformation swells. Biological warfare is increasingly executed via info wars. A prominent example is the widespread Russian government disinformation campaigns claiming that the US was operating covert bioweapons labs in Ukraine to target Russia. Again, I'm just reading this off a search on the interweb. I am not researching this myself. It's just what the internet spits back out at you when you ask a question. Check it out for yourself. This tactic weaponizes the global fear of disease to manufacture political turmoil and international pretext for conflict.
There's a lot of disinformation there, I believe.
Oh my goodness, a little bit. The last bit is synthetic biology risks. The manipulation of genetic information allows for the creation of synthetic or modified pathogens that are resistant to standard vaccines. You just haven't had enough jabs, and harder to trace their origin.
Trust the experts.
Lastly, for fun, before we go to vintage culture appreciation and
Lighten the mood a little.
unwrangle this hot topic, I did ask the internet to tell me the likelihood of biological warfare in Australia in 2026. And it said the likelihood of a state-sponsored biological warfare attack on Australia is currently considered low, but the threat of AI-enabled bioterrorism or criminal bioattacks is rapidly increasing. Experts classify such bioweapons risks as low probability, high consequence events. Australia's risk landscape and defensive posture include AI in synthetic biology threats. Security experts warn that sophisticated artificial intelligence models can now train malicious actors on how to weaponize pathogens, punching holes in traditional screening.
I'm getting a very Terminator vibe here. It's us that scorched the skies, but...
Security Task Force. The Australian government established a high-level national security task force to tackle the threat of bioweapons falling into criminal hands. This unit oversees tighter screening of sequences of concern in synthetic nucleic acids, agricultural vulnerability. Deliberate attacks targeting the agricultural sector pose a recognised risk to national security, potentially crippling critical Australian industries. And the National Defence Strategy. Biological and chemical defence capabilities are being enhanced under the broader 2026 National Defence Strategy, which prioritises national resilience and civil preparedness against emerging threats. Do we all feel better?
Much
Do
better.
you feel better?
Just wiping my tears.
Goodness gracious.
Let's get some appreciation going.
Yeah. It's bug catchers, Swells. We're talking about bug catchers. You remember them?
I do.
The little
remember
plastic doovies.
Yes.
When did they hit the land down under? 4 kids. This, again, is always according to the
Probably would
Googleizer.
have been 60s.
Homemade bug catchers and glass jars have always been a staple in Australian backyards, but if you mean the classic plastic, the brand is the Gotcha. And when I searched it, I was like, oh, that is what it was called. Those little toy bug catchers, they came around in the early 1970s.
1970s.
Yeah. But I love it breaks down that DIY and household era. Before commercial toys existed, Australian children and entomologists used everyday household items. Bug houses were quickly made out of washed-out glass jars, Activite tins, or decorated ice cream containers with holes poked in the lid. Oh, do you remember? Remember the little goobs? One of our kids with his the cricket collection or something that he had, and he took it into my workplace, and the other was helping him. She was helping him look after the little critters he'd collected.
Yes, I do remember that.
Oh dear! And then you have the Toll Toys craze, the first mass-marketed insect viewers made specifically for Australian children, produced in Sydney by Toll Toys. Bright plastic catcher with a magnifying top and a trigger squeeze mechanism. Massive Christmas gift craze and household name.
Oh, I don't remember having one of them, but I do remember the ant farms. You remember the ant farms where there's like 2 panels of glass that were together, and then you put the ants in there and you could see them dig their little tunnels?
No, I didn't have, I know what you're talking about. I think I've seen them, but I didn't have one. But we did have like a little plastic catchy catch sort of situation that you could observe. Yeah.
Butterfly nets. Tell us your stories if you have one.
Yeah.
Of your animal catching escapades.
Entomology adventures. Yes. All right. That was a lot.
It was. It's pretty heavy.
It was a bit. I tried to
and
soften it at the end, but
it could have been very, very simple if we just stuck
facts
to the
don't care
basics
about
and we stuck
feelings,
to-
apparently.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 100%.
On that note, that was fun, I guess.
Yeah, you can always say it's fun. We're unmaddening one word at a time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a lot
There's
of
some
madness
heavy words
associated
and
with that
some-
word. Thanks for listening. I hope you're okay. I'm hugging you through the microphone. Oh my goodness. We'll catch you next time. Until then, God bless and peace out.
This content is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. We are not entomologists, lawyers, pastors, or politicians. You are not more likely to suck less or try harder having listened to these shenanigans.